What's up, everybody? I'm Joan.
And I'm Reilly.
And you're listening to Anyways.
What's up, guys? It's been a pretty eventful week.
It has.
Yeah.
Which is why we did a vlog last week, because we've been real crazy.
Yeah.
Real
That's
crazy.
Very, very true.
You want to tell us about your week, Miss Reilly?
Alright, so we can start let's start with Friday the 13th. That was a fun day.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, Friday was kind of busy. My teacher for choreography class, her name is Adele. We love her. She got the department to let us go on a field trip to the Museum of Fine Arts for free to go and see the William Forsythe exhibit. William Forsythe, he's like a famous choreographer. Big fan of his work. And we got to go to the museum, and his exhibit is basically like, he deals with a lot of work dealing with like lines and planes and points, and so his whole exhibit is like this moving pendulum, and there's a whole bunch of different like strings hanging down with little like, I don't know, whatever those little things at the end of a pendulum are called, the little metal things, the little needle looking things. And so we got to like interact with it and dance it and weave through it and kind of like interact with it. It was really cool. And then that same night we got to just spend the day in Houston, which was a lot of fun. And me and my friend Caitlin, who graciously drove us down there, we got to go and see It Chapter 2 in a really cool theater downtown. So it was a lot of fun. Like, I just was really begging, like, I want to go see it on Friday the 13th. Like, that is ultimate, just very on brand. And so that's what I wanted to go do, and we did, and we got... we left the theater. We got to the theater at like 9:30 and left at like 12:30. So it was great. It was a very eventful day, and I was exhausted, but it was so great. And It too is like one of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I can easily say that with like confidence.
But we'll come back to that later. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a whole talking point in itself. I've seen it twice now, so we'll come back to that later.
All right.
What else happened this week?
What else happened?
You had a whole dance recital.
That's true.
And you choreographed a piece in it.
That's true. I'm trying to look at my calendar. I'm trying to go chronologically.
And Saturday. I am paying attention, but I'm also doing geology homework. So.
Yes, we're being studious and being productive. So yeah. What else did I do? I feel like nothing happened, but a lot happened all at once. It's just been long. This week we had our Dances at 8 performance. For y'all who know or maybe don't know, if you're new, I am one of the officers for XCE, which is Dance Honor Society, short for Chi Tau Epsilon. And we host a performance every semester called Dances at 8, where people, dance majors, and basically anyone from the school, it doesn't matter if you're a dance major or not, you can choreograph and submit a piece, and basically that's just like our undergrad show for the semester. And so I choreographed a dance. It was called Drown. It was a restaging of a piece. I did this piece a couple years ago, back in 2016, in my friend Joya's play called Maybe Tomorrow. She wrote this play in like 24 hours because she woke up in the middle of the night just with an idea and just wrote it down. And she wrote and produced this play all in one summer. And basically it was, it's just a play essentially talking about the topics of like depression, suicide in teenagers and spreading awareness of that. Because she herself had kind of realized that she was dealing with those kind of issues, and she wanted to bring it to the attention of, the community. Speaking of which, it's National Suicide Awareness Month. So
it is.
Reach out to your friends, call the hotline, take care of yourself, take care of your friends.
Remember that you're loved and people are here for you, no matter what.
Exactly. We'll leave the number in the description, just in case,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did that, and initially when we did it, of course, we're all like teenagers, and Joya like paid for this whole thing out of pocket, so we're doing this in like community theaters, like really tiny stages, not even real lighting, like all that. So I got the opportunity to like restage it on an actual like our theater here at school, and being able to do that with lighting and with like a full cast was really cool, and I really enjoyed being able to do that, especially since it's such a quick turnaround. Like our show, we started school like the end of August, and our show is like the second week of September. Was it? Third week of September. So I only had 4 rehearsals minus tech week. So that was like all the time I had to get together, but I was really happy with it. So shout out to all my dancers. That was great. And then I got to be on another one of my friend's pieces, which was also a lot of fun. But yeah, I just really enjoy dances at 8 because it's like, apart from like our assignments in class, this is like our time to be able to actually perform a show and like show other colleagues and just like other people and our faculty like what we can do and our kind of I guess our vision, like choreographic vision and things like that. It's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I love having all that access. Like I didn't know anything about lighting, or like for me like lighting and costuming is just the hardest part about coming up with a dance. I'm just like, I just want it on stage. Like I don't know what else to do. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and 10 out of 10 would recommend. Yes.
Our friend, I went to go see it with our friend Coleman Green from Coco's Create. We both went to go see Reilly's show, and it was amazing. It's really incredible to see how people our age who have been dancing, I mean, some of them have been dancing their whole lives, some of them only since high school, and it's really amazing to see how they can choreograph like to music, songs that you know, because like you're saying, you used the song by Bring Me to the Horizon, right? Yeah, and so like as soon as the music started, I was like, oh, I know this song. And then like as I was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is I need a minute. I actually cried. Like I was a mess. But it was so good, and there's so many performances that were just so amazing. I got to see I'm not sure who it was, but the tap dancer,
yes,
who was the opening number.
She's our vice president.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say, like, I've seen tap dancing before, like, in shows and stuff like that, but, like, to sit there and see one person do a whole tap dance number to a very fast song was incredible. Like, I couldn't comprehend how fast her feet were moving, but she, like, never missed a step. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So it was really incredible to see, like, how our friends and stuff can go out there and they hear music and they're like, oh, I'm going to choreograph a dance to this. And it's like, wow. Incredible. So yes, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Go see Dances at 8 next year when it's back up, right? Yeah. Y'all do it every year, don't you?
Yeah, every semester.
Every semester. Go see it next semester.
Honestly.
You have so many chances. Go do it.
Exactly.
So good.
Exactly. Submit a piece if you want to.
Really?
Do all of the above. What else do we have going on? We had Joan's Quidditch tournament yesterday. Saturday the 21st. Do you remember the 21st night of September?
I honestly don't. I was on a lot of pain medicine.
Oh.
But yes, we did. We had the 9th annual Breakfast Taco Tournament, which is one that the Bearcat Quidditch team host here in Huntsville. And setting it up until Wednesday, I want to say. Yeah, on Wednesday. We had everything set up. Like, we knew what was going to happen, when it was going to happen. Our schedule was ready. It was all good to go. And then it stormed all night. And the field we were originally given by Rec Sports became a lake. So they were like, hey, you can't use this anymore. So they moved us to a completely different field, which threw off our whole schedule. So our vice president, Casey, had to go back, and shout out to Casey, love that woman, but she had to redo the whole schedule, and she did such a phenomenal job, honestly. It was amazing, and we were all kind of worried, because that threw off, like, I'm in charge of concession stand, so I wasn't sure how that was going to work now, because we were going to use their real, like, building concession stand for our concessions. That wasn't going to happen anymore, so I had to worry about that. We were worried about equipment, so the officers were, like, scrambling for everything. And then Saturday came, we set it up, and it ran flawlessly. Like, honestly, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the, well, I mean, I've only been to one breakfast taco tournament, but I was told that was probably the most organized breakfast taco tournament ever put on by the school. And that's the 9th one, so.
Sounds like you got some great leadership.
Yeah.
That's crazy because, like,
Right
the
here.
difference between. So, if y'all didn't know, we're in a tropical storm session at the moment.
Just a little
so, Friday for like a good, like, 3 hours, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Couple hours? Yeah. It, like, just stormed, like, hard. And so, we rest on a hill. But we have parking lots and things that are like at the bottom of that hill. And so within those 3 hours, so for me, I was in the dance building. Like I have 2 classes that are back to back, so I didn't have to leave during that time period because it like was the duration of that entire like storm period. But some of my friends were coming in from outside. Some were like debating leaving because the water started to rise so quickly. Like some of the cars in the parking lot, like it was up, like covering their tires. So
it's pretty bad.
It was a very eventful Friday. But yeah, and we got a little concerned because we was like, if it keeps raining, like, are we gonna have to cancel the show? Like, what if people get trapped here? Like, one of my friends was like trapped at her apartment because like it started to flood over there, so it was crazy just like how quickly the water started to rise, and just like it was just insane. It was really insane. But then it just completely drained afterwards.
It was so
and everything
fast.
Just stopped. It was like it didn't even happen.
I know, it was like I took one of our good friends to Target, and as we're driving to Target, it like sprinkled, and it was just downpour. And I was like, all right, we gotta get to Target.
Yeah.
So we get to Target, and I wasn't expecting it to rain, because if you looked at the weather,
Exactly.
it said it wasn't going to rain until like 4 a.m., which is very different than 12 p.m.
Yeah.
Like noon on a Friday. And so I didn't have like an umbrella or jacket or anything, so we both like booked it into Target. And we just sat in there and, like, the rain poured. And then there was a little bit of, like, a dry area. I was like, cool, I'll take you home now before we get stuck in that rain again. Only to find out that 3 of the main roads that lead to her apartment were all completely flooded. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, so I had to take all these back roads to get her to her house. And then I had to figure out how to get to our place from there, which was even more crazy. But then I drove to go see Reilly's dance show. And all the roads were open again. Nothing, and I mean that wasn't any more than like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And it was still raining, so it was crazy how quickly. Because I wasn't sure I was gonna park for it. I was gonna pull up and like roll out and go in there and see the show and just have my friend keep driving the car around. But it was so crazy how fast it was just gone, as if like nothing happened. It's so weird.
Insanity.
I guess that's why it's called flash flooding.
Imelda, what you doing? Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because I guess it just happens real quick and it's done.
Like a flash. Wow.
So anyways, back to the 9th annual breakfast taco tournament. So we ended up taking home 2nd place. Nice. I only got mildly injured. Apparently. It felt really bad in the time being. Like when it happened, I like laid there on the field and I wasn't crying.
Yeah. It's crazy because I was there for the last game and I was like, okay, cool. Like, because of course I came to support, but I came to take pictures by Joan's request. And so I left after they had won the last game, and then they stayed and did a couple more games, 2 more games.
So you came to pool play. So for Quidditch tournaments, the morning is called pool play, and it's where everybody kind of builds up their stats.
Got it.
So like we won 2 of 3 games. So we were 1v2, or we were 2v1.
Okay.
2 wins, 1 loss. So then they figure out who had the most wins, who had the most losses, and then from there they pair them up with different teams.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon we do bracket play, which brings it down to the final 2 teams.
Gotcha.
So we ended up having to play the Missouri, did I say that right? I think I said that right. Missouri Quidditch team to see who would get into the finals bracket. So we made it to semifinals. We played them. We won. And then after that, we played UT Austin for the finals for 1st and 2nd place. And that was the game. It was I think it started at like 7:30, I want to say. I don't know. It was late. You kind of lose track of time when you're on the field, but they had to turn on the big lights for us because it was getting dark. But during that game, I had already, my hamstring was hurting a lot. So it was already kind of hurting, but I'd been drinking water and like rolling it out. So I was like, I'm still going to play because UT Austin's very good. So I was like, I need to play, be there for my team. And I played a good 4 rounds. And then I dove for a ball and wrestled this guy from UT Austin, this big guy, for this ball. And then I like try to push off my leg. Ouch. This one. And instead, my leg just decided to like extend, but like not bend after that. And so it was just like it was almost like a lightning bolt of pain that just shot up my leg. And I honestly thought I tore something. It hurt so badly. And so then I just kind of laid out there on the field freaking out because I thought I tore something.
In this death drop position.
Yeah, almost. Very close to it. But yeah, so I was freaking out because I couldn't move my leg. So then the EMT came and my captains came and an old man. Captains. Yeah, shout out to my captains. An old man came and was like holding my hand, telling me I was going to be okay. And I was like, I don't know who you are, but thank you. And so then as I'm sitting there, I was like, oh no, like I tore something. And I wasn't crying. I tore something and I was freaking out and like breathing all hard. And the EMT guy goes, yeah, this looks like a really severe cramp. And as soon as he said that, I said, what? I did not believe this man at all. Yeah, he was like, this is like a severe cramp. And I was like, no. Something is definitely broken or torn. And he's like, you're really dehydrated. And so, yeah, this is pretty bad. Like, you don't need to walk on it at the moment. And so, yeah, it was pretty rough.
On what? I can't even get up.
So I have all these little icy hot pads on my legs and my shoulder. Because I worked hard yesterday. But, yeah, it was intense. Yeah.
I was about to be like, oh, Jen's going to be able to come home all right for once.
No.
It's too good to be true.
Honestly, they pulled me off to the sideline, and I said, Reilly's going to be so upset at me. Like, I'm going to hobble in, and she's going to just shake her head and be like, what did you do?
Disappointed, but not surprised.
Our friendship. Disappointed, but not surprised. Oh, but I did get a cool sweatshirt.
Nice.
Reilly got me a sweatshirt. So that was Reilly's shout out. Shout out to Reilly for my awesome sweatshirt.
I wonder who that is.
So yeah, that was my September 21st. Do I remember the night? Do I remember
the 21st night of September?
There it is. And no, I do not, because I took some medicine and went to bed after hanging out with my friends.
Which one am I singing? The Troll version or the Earth, Wind, and Fire version?
Yes. Aren't they the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was the joke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Comment down below. Which one do you like better?
The
Trolls Earth, Wind, and Fire version or the Trolls version?
Answer wisely.
Can't wait for Trolls 2. I'm so excited.
Trolls 2. That's the one where they have to stop rock and roll, right?
I know.
I thought you couldn't stop rock and roll.
Well, here's the thing. It's just that rock and roll, they villainized rock and roll. I feel bad.
AC/DC. I knew AC/DC was bad.
Underneath, like, I saw the trailer on Instagram and all the comments were just like, they villainized rock and roll. And I was like, oh no. But it's still going to be a cute movie.
Is it?
I'm excited.
As long as Justin Timberlake's in it, I'll go see it.
What?
But if Justin Timberlake's in it, I'll watch it.
Yes, he is.
But if they cut his voice, I'd be very upset.
And Anna Kendrick.
Justin Timberlake. Yeah. Anyways, so now we can talk about It 2 in our review of it. So here's a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen It 2. Go ahead and skip a little bit in our video.
Okay.
Reilly will tell you where to skip, I'm sure, to avoid the spoiler alert.
Go down to the description and find it.
But here's our review. It was amazing.
Yes.
So good.
For sure. Literally, I went... You can ask Caitlin. I walked out the theater literally just speechless. I was like, wow. Because I seriously was so blown away. Like, I
just so
could not wrap my head around how good that movie was. It was just so amazing. Just everything. There was so many, down from like, of course the casting was perfect.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like not just the casting and like how each actor was able to portray each character, but I feel like they all kind of look like who they were portraying as well. Like,
they did.
Pretty good. Like, I feel like these kids look like who they're playing. They're littles. And like, story was great. I love the visual aspect of it. There's so many good transitions.
You know,
and
Bill
cinematography
Skarsgård,
scenes.
he did all his own stunts, right?
Bill Skarsgård is...
Joking aside, he did do a lot of his stunts.
That's true.
But I like to count that he also dislocated his jaw to do all those big mouth scenes, you know?
I'm shook, really.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
wild.
100%, I'm
Did
sure.
not know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was one, I will never forget it, because I was so just blown away in the theater.
Is it this?
No! That's not what I'm talking about. I'm still in the cinematography. I'm talking about, there was one transition, and where, I think it was, I want to say it was, Bill. He was looking up. No, not Bill.
You remember it?
I can't remember who was looking up. I want to say somebody was looking up into the sky, and then the transition went from like the stars in the sky, and it like flattened out to the puzzle piece where Stanley was like playing with the puzzle piece. And I was like, how did they even think of this? Not even how they did it. How do you think of that?
It was amazing.
Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
In the world, like there were so many other parts like that too, just other transitional things, and just like, it was so great. Visually amazing. It was such a great story. It ended perfectly too. Like I feel like they just wrapped it up.
Yes.
So nicely.
And I know the internet was really worried. Again, we already gave you a spoiler alert. But the internet was worried how they were going to, because so many people were in love with the character Eddie, and his friendship, wink, with Richie. And in the book, Eddie, like, Pennywise kills Eddie. And so for a while, the internet was really concerned on if they were going to keep that or not, because so many fans wholeheartedly just loved Eddie and Richie's relationship, which I am glad that they expanded out, because there's also, okay, anyway, we'll come back to that. That's next. And so, but Stephen King kept true to himself and his book, and he still took out Eddie, but the way they did it was so perfect, because then it gave Richie the character arc that he needed to like complete his little hero's journey, in my opinion. Like he needed that so he could figure out himself, which you'll learn is really important in the movie, because in the book it's all subtext that there's a possibility that the character Richie is gay and that he is in love with Eddie, who's his best friend. And in the movie, they made it was just so good. The way that with that character arc, that it was like, he remembers that he had this incident that told him, like, hey, you're gay, right? And like this kind of thing. And he had like this whole turmoil as a child. And then it comes back as an adult and he still can't accept it. And then the whole thing with Eddie happens. And you can see there's a change in him to where he's like, there's only one person for me, and it's Eddie. And it's like, I cried. I sobbed. I was like, oh my gosh. Two of my favorite characters. And so there were some people who were wondering if they were going to put that kind of subtext into the movie. Or where they're going to lose viewers and stuff.
Yeah.
But Stephen King was like, I mean, I wrote it in the book.
Yeah.
So,
it's like, hey guys. It's 3 hours long for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah, it is a 2 hours and 41 minute runtime, isn't it? Right?
250.
Is it 50?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just so good. I've seen it twice now. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But yeah, so I feel like all the characters had a complete character arc, and I think that's very important. Except for Stan. Well, even Stan kind of had one at the end.
I think Stan was like, he's like the barb. Like, he's the one that ties everybody together, in a sense. I mean, like...
The barb.
Sorry.
Too soon.
Hashtag this is for barb. But yeah, I think
I have socks that say that.
He kind of like... Yeah, he kind of is that kind of one of the tying pieces. I feel like all of the characters, of course, they bring their own little bit to the gang, but I feel like Stan did, you know?
You think so?
Yeah.
Maybe I have to go see it for a third time.
He was the start of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
He was the reason why they finished it.
Yeah.
You know?
Boom. There you go.
And his shower cap scene was one thing that really motivated them. Because before they weren't really into it. But so even though he wasn't, like, there, he did help them all have character arcs, which, I mean, I guess gives him a character arc. I'll give that. I'll give it to Stan.
For sure.
I'll say Stan had a character arc.
I'll give it to Stan.
We stan with Stan.
Oh, love that.
Love that. But, yes, oh my gosh. 12 out of 12 would recommend. Go see it, too. It's still in theaters.
12 out of 10.
It's still, I think, the #1 movie in the world at the moment.
It's great. Stephen King is making that bag right
He's
now.
making that bank.
What was I going to say? I just feel that the It movies do everything so perfectly in terms of, like, what they're trying to do. Because I personally don't think that they are scary. Like, I don't go to the theater and, like, walk out scared. But, sorry. I think that, like, what they're trying to do in terms of, like, what am I trying to say?
What are you trying to say?
They, like, in the story, how they're creating these, like, feeding off the insecurities and feeding off of these, like, deep things that these characters have gone through and have suffered through. Like, that's why they're in the Losers Club. But, like, really feeding off of that and making that scary is what it is. I love how I feel like that's done so eloquently. Because, like, for someone like me, you know, I feel like it's like the thing how people are like, I'm not scared of death, I'm scared of how I'm gonna die. Or, like, someone like me who I'm like, I'm not scared of, like, whatever. Like, I'm scared of getting lost and alone. But if you feed off of that and make it like, you know, you put me in the dark and then there's like a zombie coming toward me, like, that's even worse. I don't know. I can't describe how I want to explain this, but I feel like y'all get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Like, the movie is made very well. And what they're trying to do, the goals were met, and I see it. And it's clear, even though I can't verbally explain it. But yes, I appreciate what this team did with this movie, and I applaud them on that. I think it was done very well. Yes.
Sorry, I have to deal with a Quidditch issue real quick.
All right. A mini break for a Quidditch issue.
But I totally understand what you're saying, how it was, my goodness. And they got their scare factor. That's another thing that makes it such a good, scary movie, is that there was a plot, there was character arcs, like, it was so good, and it was still scary as all get out. Ow. I think that's what made it almost perfect there. It was just like, yes. It's like one of the perfect scary movies I've ever seen. And I've seen all the Saws, so that should tell you.
Oh, yeah. You really have. You're like a veteran. Truly.
I got into them at an old age.
At an old age.
I did. Most people start watching scary movies when they're like in elementary school and middle school.
That's very true.
They go through that emo phase in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching these like my senior year of high school. I'm new.
I feel like I just did. What have I watched pre-college? I feel like, what have I seen? I know I've seen... I can't think of any... I used to just watch, like, horror movie trailers just to laugh at. Like, me and my friends. Mm-hmm. Like, I would watch, like, the Purge movie trailers and just, like, laugh. Oh, there was one big... I feel like this was, like, early 2010s or, like, late 2000s where there was just a whole bunch of, like, piranha movies.
Yeah.
And all of those came out.
We
just watched those and just cracked up. Like, those were so funny to me. Just the ridiculousness of them.
Yeah.
What else was there?
I remember I had a couple friends who really liked scary movies in middle school, but I did not like scary movies, nor would I watch the trailers. I'd always cover my eyes.
Yes.
And so I remember, what movie was it? I think it was Zombieland. I've never seen Zombieland,
Mm.
but all my friends were talking about it, and I felt left out. So I did all the research I could on Zombieland. And I learned the plot and all the characters and everything to where it's basically like I had watched Zombieland, but really I just read it.
Yeah.
And I realized reading scary stuff is not the same as watching scary stuff.
Mm.
So then I was like, reading scary things isn't that bad.
Mm.
So then, of course, all my friends thought I had watched... they had all thought I watched the movie, which I didn't.
So
I just read it.
In with the group.
Yeah, so I got in with the group. But then after that, I was talking to, and then skip to like my high school years. I was talking to my teacher about books she liked, and she loves Stephen King, all things scary. And so she was like, you know what you should read? And so then after that, she had me read The Shining. And she's like, The Shining is an amazing book, which it is. It's one of my favorites. She's like, if you like The Shining, then you'll like Stephen King. And that was like my gateway. My gateway drug into horror things was The Shining. Because then as soon as I read it, I was like, I need to watch this movie. And it's been rated one of the scariest movies. But I watched it and I was like, this is so good.
It's good. It's like haunting. It's just like...
It is so good. And then after that, I went to Pet Sematary, and then It, and then one thing led to another. I've now seen all 8 Saw movies. I've seen Get Out. I don't count it as a scary movie. But I went and saw Us, like, in theaters. And I was like, this is going to be great. I saw It 2 in theaters, seen old It, new It, the new Halloween. You've never seen old It?
I haven't.
It's so funny.
Xfinity. I'll watch it at some point.
It's so funny. It's
Is there only
they
one
tried
of those
so hard to
films,
be
or is there
scary.
two?
Well,
Because I know that at one point there was a series.
so that's what it is. It's the TV movie series. It's the TV movie series. Yikes. It's a TV movie series. So it's like 4-hour-long episodes, but they put them together to make the movie. Okay. So when you buy the DVD, it's really like, it's like 4 hours long. It's a long movie. But that's because when it released, it was like different episodes.
Okay.
So you have to remember that when you watch it. It's got Tim Curry. Tim Curry is a great Pennywise. Yeah. Tim Curry walked so Bill Skarsgård could run.
Oh, I love that. So he could fly. So he could float.
I have to go now.
Tim Curry.
He said you.
So Bill Skarsgård could float.
No, my chocolate
milk.
Where's my towel? Oh, cut this out of the video.
Oh,
I don't want anybody to see this.
We had a chocolate milk. Oh no, is that the rest of it? Did it all spill?
No.
Okay, I hear a little swig in there. You get a nice little gulp. Did it get on the carpet? That's the real question.
A little bit on the side.
That's
I gotta get carpet cleaner now. We can
get a new carpet for next semester. She's getting a little dingy anyways. I'll get it next time. That'll be our collective Christmas gift for the room.
But this was such a nice carpet.
That's okay.
I messed her up. I'm so sorry.
I'm glad you messed it up and not me, because that would have been hard to live down.
As I cry about my rug. The rest of this episode is just going to be me sobbing and apologizing to my rug.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
Better you, not me.
I feel so bad. Almost as bad as I feel about this.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Chat? Officer chat. Ooh, it's exclusive.
It is exclusive.
Yikes.
I'd share with y'all, but this is the officer chat.
XTE and Quidditch. both are something else. And that's all I gotta say.
Let's see here. What's next on our list? Anyways.
Oh, my toe split open during dance that day. I just remembered that.
Oh my gosh, what?
No, I just have this cut underneath. Not even a cut. It's because I dance barefoot, and barefoot is not for me. In my piece, I have me dancing barefoot, which was dumb. And so I had this, like, open, just, like, the crease underneath my fourth toe on my left foot is, like, open. And then, so it just, like, reopened for the second time. And then I just had to put a Band-Aid on it. Use one of those alcohol wipes, which burned so bad.
I'm sure.
But it's fine. I got it together. It's closed back up now, but it's like a reoccurring thing, and so barefoot is not for me, dog. It's not for me. But, you know, it's fine. But I already told myself I'm not choreographing another solo on myself, or I'm not doing my own choreography ever again. It's too much. I can't do it again. No.
Yeah, I felt that. Do you like? I don't know. I feel like that's too deep. I'm sure it's kind of like the reason why people who write their own plays can't act in them, because you feel like you're just never going to do it justice.
I think,
or it's like never, or like out of everyone, it should be perfect for. It should be you. Like you should be able to do this perfectly. Do you have like those kind of limitations?
I say, well, for this piece, I really wanted to do it. I still wanted to do it on me, just because I saw myself doing it. Mm-hmm. I guess because I like set it on myself, but for what was I say? But yeah, I just didn't want to do it again because I was just like, this is really hard. Apart from like, just because I can't really correct myself until after the rehearsal's over, and I can't fix it until the next rehearsal, but then it's like a never-ending cycle because I don't see myself. And then like, I have to watch the video and be like, oh, I need to do this about this, but then I can't fix it until I get back in the space with other people, and it's just, it's just a lot. And then I can't like set lighting and like watch it on stage and look at my spacing. It's hard to be the choreographer and the dancer at the same time. That's just what I was meaning by that. And this piece was hard because I was running around so much in this dance, and like, it's just it was just a lot, and it was a little emotionally taxing just because the piece was like literally about depression, so just a little bit of that too. It was a lot. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, watching it, I was like, man, I'm like sobbing. I was like, wow. And
it made me think, like, what are those, like, people who are in a show like Dear Evan Hansen? I know that show is like super emotionally taxing. Like, how do they get through it every 8 times a week? Yeah.
Not easily. I can speak from an actor. Yeah, I still am cleaning up chocolate milk. I can speak from an actor's point of view. It's just, yeah, it's rough. My intermediate director this past week, we did our monologues. He picks our monologues for us to use for audition pieces, and so he gave me one and gave another girl in our class one, and I mean they're incredibly dark. It's like incredibly dark, really emotionally just taxing on you. And he's telling, and I mean, we both performed our monologues, and at the end of them, we just both sobbed. Like, I mean, I cried, but it was rough. And so so he told us, you have to be careful, especially as an actor. Sorry, if you hear this, it's because I'm cleaning my rug off. It was bothering me.
Okay.
And so was explaining to us that you have to be so careful as an actor, especially if you use some of the techniques that people give us. Like, there's some where like you use your own personal experience, or there's some where you like have to put yourself into that story, and how they can be so emotionally taxing on you that it's just, oh man, it's just so bad.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, which is why some actors and actresses have lots of issues after going after big roles, especially like the Joker.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that one's got a lot of stuff that goes along with it. And so it just, it is a rough business that we have chosen that deals with those kinds of issues every day.
Yeah. All for our entertainment. Be thankful for your actors, ladies and gentlemen. They're going through it.
Chocolate milk.
Oh, that's a nice little...
Look, our rug's a different color now.
Disinfectant wipe. Okay.
How dirty is this rug?
Oh.
Sorry, I'm not cleaning the whole rug right now. Okay.
It's alrighty. Do we have any more topics for this episode?
TV, but that was it, I think. Congratulations to Ash Ketchum for winning Pokemon.
Boom.
That was another one. But we were going to talk about TV, and do you have a song for this week?
Oh, shoot. Well, I'll just use my song for my piece. My song for my piece, I danced to Drown by Bring Me the Horizon, but the Faith Marie cover. This song basically perfectly shapes like my piece and how I want it to be. Going back to, like I said before, this piece was a restaging. Like, I said this before as a duet. back in 2016. And, you know, I wanted it to be a group piece, like how I ended up getting to do it this year for Dance That Day, but I couldn't because all of my friends, you know, they were out of town or at summer intensive, so they're all kind of busy.
Did you look at me when you said out of town?
What?
I like felt you go out of town.
No,
as if you were targeting
this
me.
was back in 2016.
Oh, that's
I didn't even know you.
We knew each other.
But yeah, so that's how it went. And so in the play, right before we go on for this dance, one of the main characters named Claire, she basically does this whole monologue about well, she's like on the phone with one of her friends, and then her friend is like talking about her. She's kind of like speaking over her, not really letting her speak. And then she basically kind of fades away, and she goes to do her monologue, like as she's kind of pantomiming, talking on the phone in the background. And then she does this whole monologue about her feeling like, basically like she's falling, like she's sinking. She's wanting somebody to just stop and grab her and pull her out, and just like essentially like she's drowning. And so I remember back when we picked the song, I was like, oh, this is so perfect, because I think I had found this cover. I had found the cover like before Joya was like had asked me to dance and had asked me to like look for songs. But after I had read the script, and I was like, yo, I think this song is going to be perfect for this dance right here. And I sent it to her, and she was in love with it. And I really am too. Like, it's just so beautiful. I mean, I love the original version too, because you can really like rock out to it. But I think this cover, this Faith Marie cover, is so much more. It's just got the emotion backing up with it, and it's like with this pretty piano in the background, and it just like the tone of it is just so gorgeous, and I loved being able to dance to it. So yes, I suggest that. Drown, Bring Me the Horizon, Faith Marie cover. It'll be in the description. Okay, your turn.
So in honor of the Hella Mega Tour, which is Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer all coming together for probably one of the greatest tours ever to walk the earth, I decided to pick a Green Day song, and yes, it did take me a while to pick one favorite one, but I'm going to say, what was I going to say? I'm going to go with Boulevard of Broken Dreams, because I'm pretty sure I've said American Idiot before. So Boulevard of Broken Dreams, amazing. Yes.
Whoa.
That one.
Yes.
That part. Yeah. So that is the music of the week from both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's it.
Yeah. Do you have any final words?
My final words. Turn around, don't drown.
Turn around, don't drown. All right, guys.
That was for Joya.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Anyways.
If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you know every time we post a new video.
And if you're not already, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Ground4Co14. Until next time, I'm Joan.
And I'm Reilly.
Thanks for listening to Anyways!